Sword of Coming Episode 4. In the previous episode, Chen Ping'an quietly confronted the gatekeeper for the small payment he was owed, only to receive mockery instead of copper coins. His memories drifted back to the harsh days under Old Man Yao, the lonely master who shaped his endurance through hardship. Meanwhile, the scholar known to the town gathered Song Jixin and his scholarly attendant for an unusual game of Go, revealing subtle changes that hinted at his departure. Hidden tensions surfaced when the scholar confronted Ji Gui, exposing a darker side beneath her innocent facade. Far away, even the young Taoist priest sensed impending danger after drawing a bad stick for himself. At the end of the previous episode, the breeze whispered through bamboo as the scholar sighed, and the Taoist priest muttered about great peril ahead, a quiet warning that the calm town might not stay peaceful for long. What will happen next? Stay tuned. And the story continues. There was a well in Apricot Blossom Alley by the name of Iron Lock Well. A metal chain that was as thick as a young man's arm was dangling down inside the well. And no one knew why the chain was there, nor who had done something as strange and pointless as hanging a chain in the well. Even the oldest individuals in the town were unable to provide any accounts. It was said that long ago, a curious man had been drawn to the well, eager to see just how long the chain stretched. The old townspeople warned him that for each foot of chain he pulled from the well, 1 year of his lifespan would be taken away. Ignoring these ominous words, the man began tugging at the chain with all his strength. 15 minutes of effort later, a huge pile of chain had been pulled out, but still, the end remained unseen. Exhausted, he left the pile by the well winch, promising himself he would return the next day to uncover the full mystery. Yet, upon returning home that very day, he died violently, blood flowing from every orifice, his eyes refusing to close. No matter what his family tried, they could not close the man's eyes. Eventually, an old man, whose family had lived near the well for generations, instructed the family to carry the corpse to the well so that it could watch as the chain was returned. Only after the entire chain had sunk back into the depths did the corpse's eyes finally close. On this particular day, an old man and a small child approached the Iron Lock Well. The child, though still very young with 2 lines of snot trailing from his nostrils, possessed unusually sharp wit and could tell a coherent story despite having only recently started school. His large black eyes, gleaming like grapes, watched the old man intently. With a gentle sniffle, the snot receded back into his nostrils. "That's the end of my story," he said. "You're going to show me what's in your bowl now, right?" The old man chuckled, taking a seat on the edge of the well. "Don't be in such a hurry. Let me sit first, and then you can see as much as you want." The child, quick to assert his authority, threatened him in a disguised friendly tone, warning of terrifying fates should the old man break his promise. He named falling headfirst into the well, being struck by lightning, or even having his remains crushed. The old man, now developing a headache, hurriedly assured the child, promising he would show him. "My mother," the child said when asked where he learned such speech. "Your mother must be truly remarkable," the old man praised, though the child quickly accused him of sarcasm. The conversation shifted as the old man asked if strange events occurred in the town. The child nodded, then spoke of a mysterious old man who carried a large white bowl but refused all offerings, calling him a serial fraud. This caught the old man completely off guard. The story continued with the old man revealing that he had asked the child to guide him to Apricot Blossom Alley. Initially, the child refused, but the promise of a rare, extraordinary object in the bowl persuaded him. The child, energetic and adventurous by nature, was both impatient and clever, understanding that if he wanted to see the bowl's contents, he had to behave. Before showing the child the bowl, the old man attempted to lift him, testing his weight. Each time, he failed, much to the child's amusement. The child, though tempted to mock him, restrained himself. Finally, both arrived at the well. The old man approached with a heavy breath, while the child carefully perched on the well's edge, aware that any misstep could be fatal. The old man examined the chain bound to the well's winch. A complex set of lines on his palm seemed to shift and stretch as he pondered the strange destiny tied to the chain. Meanwhile, the child demanded, with both curiosity and impatience, to see the white bowl. With solemnity, the old man finally agreed, imposing a strict condition. The child must not reveal the bowl's contents to anyone. The child consented, and the old man tilted the bowl slightly. At first, nothing seemed to happen, but then, a stream of water, thick as a finger, poured from the bowl into the well. It continued flowing silently and endlessly, surpassing the capacity of even the largest water vat. The child, seeing this, was struck with fear and astonishment, convinced he was witnessing a ghost. In a mix of shock and realization, he jumped down and ran toward his home. Meanwhile, in another part of town, Lu Shenyang practiced sword techniques with a snapped branch, creating a swirling dust cloud around him. He raced toward the blacksmith forge, driven by excitement at the prospect of forging a real sword. On the northern steps of a covered bridge, 4 figures watched the unfolding events. Among them was a woman holding a boy in a red robe, an imposing old man, and a little girl with delicate, porcelain-like skin. The children quarreled, their conversation highlighting the tension between pride, inheritance, and ambition. The boy sought treasures like prized armor and sword scriptures, claiming their pursuit was essential for cultivating the great Tao, while the little girl resisted, defending her family's rightful possessions. The old man intervened with wisdom, reminding the girl not to rely on luck, while the woman maintained composure, balancing diplomacy and caution. Lu Zhengchun, the eldest grandson of the Lu clan, observed silently, his body tense with fear and resentment. He had been humiliated before these esteemed guests and held a deep, simmering desire to see Lu Shenyang, whom he regarded as low class, punished. Yet, the reality of these powerful visitors kept him restrained, forcing him into obedience despite his inner turmoil. As Lu Shenyang drew nearer to the bridge, his rudimentary but promising martial skills impressed the observing woman. She knew he possessed remarkable talent, a quality rare even among prodigies in their world. She instructed Lu Zhengchun to respectfully negotiate for the clan's prized armor and sword scriptures, while the boy playfully threatened him with terrifying consequences should he fail. The little girl, undeterred, attempted to assert her own authority, only to be gently corrected by the old man, who reminded her of the limitations and consequences of relying on chance. The scene concluded with the little girl turning her gaze to the creek, mesmerized by the clarity of the water and the sight of carp swimming beneath the surface. The water level began to rise slowly, catching her attention. She pondered the natural restrictions on mystical abilities in the town and considered the implications for the prized artifacts they sought. A smile formed on her face as she imagined the day when these restrictions would no longer apply. She turned to look at the old man's imposing figure, and she gleefully thought to herself that once the restrictions here were completely lifted, she would ask him to carry that mountain by the name of Cloud Drape Mountain back home with them so that she could make it her own flower garden. Ever since he returned home, Chen Ping'an's eyelid had been constantly twitching. It was said that the twitching of the left eyelid signified wealth, while the twitching of the right eyelid entailed disaster. Chen Ping'an sat down on the doorstep, his thin blanket barely keeping the chill away, and lifted his hands in the air as if shaping clay before him. He began his visualization practice, mentally molding pottery in midair with precise motions. The practice was not only a way to refine his craft but also a method to fend off hunger. Whenever his mind was troubled, he immersed himself in this ritual, letting every movement flow naturally. In the craft of pottery, much depended on the will of the heavens. Before a piece was fired, one could not know how its shape, glaze, or color would turn out. Success came from a combination of skill, intuition, and a touch of divine luck. The molding process itself, however, remained absolutely crucial. Chen Ping'an had long been regarded by Old Man Yao as lacking in aptitude. Often relegated to manual labor tasks such as pugging clay, he had watched others at work, learning in silence, and practiced the motions of molding in his private moments, striving to develop a true feel for the art. The quiet of his practice was soon punctuated by the sound of a wooden gate creaking open. Song Jixin and Ji Gui had returned from school. Song Jixin, ever agile, leapt onto a wall and squatted, spreading his hands to release a handful of small, multicolored rocks. Among these ordinary stones, the rare bright red ones, reminiscent of soaked chicken blood, were the most prized. Song Jixin, fascinated by such stones, had once offered to trade them with Mr. Qi for a seal, only to be firmly declined. He began tossing the stones toward Chen Ping'an. The first struck his chest, the second his forehead, but Chen Ping'an did not flinch. 7 or 8 stones flew one after another, yet Chen Ping'an remained perfectly still, lost in his practice. Song Jixin refrained from hitting Chen Ping'an's hands or fingers, not wishing to disrupt his flow completely. After finishing, Song Jixin clapped his hands, and Chen Ping'an exhaled, shaking his wrists, still utterly absorbed in the visualization. Lowering his head, Chen Ping'an curled his left fingers as if holding an invisible burin. The technique, known as the jumping burin, was revered among potters but rarely mastered. Chen Ping'an had spent countless hours observing Lu Shenyang, the one disciple deemed capable of inheriting Old Man Yao's secret techniques. Lu Shenyang, proud and showy, had occasionally revealed fragments of these secrets to Chen Ping'an, hinting that to maintain stability, one could not focus merely on keeping the hand steady, the heart must remain steady above all. When asked what that meant, Lu Shenyang had no answer, leaving Chen Ping'an to ponder the deeper meaning in silence. Song Jixin, now bored, leapt down and entered the house. Ji Gui, peeking over the wall, hesitated briefly, then asked in a gentle voice for Chen Ping'an to pick up 2 stones she liked, a translucent bright red one and a snow-white one that had been tossed aside. Chen Ping'an, still focused on his practice, merely raised his eyes to signal her to wait. By the time he finished, her momentary spark of brightness had faded, her timid and gentle expression restored. He picked up the stones and brought them to her, placing them carefully on the wall. She took them, clutching them with quiet joy. Chen Ping'an thought briefly about fate, realizing that some things, if meant to be, could be obtained effortlessly, while others remained forever elusive. A commotion erupted in the alley. Song Jixin's rival, Ji Yukan, loudly accused him of inappropriate behavior with Ji Gui. Song Jixin, unfazed, bantered back, recounting an embarrassing encounter involving Chen Ping'an and Ji Yukan's mother from the night before. The verbal skirmish continued, the insults flying, but Ji Gui quietly returned indoors, leaving the chaos outside to simmer. Inside, Song Jixin meticulously polished a bright green gourd, an antique left behind by Master Song. He had discovered its peculiar properties over time. During lightning storms, a buzzing sound emanated from it, yet shaking it or filling it with water or sand produced nothing unusual. Curious, he had even tried destroying it with a blade, only to find it completely impervious. Among his collection of trinkets, this gourd seemed to hold the most significance, though he could not explain why. Meanwhile, Ji Yukan, undeterred, continued his furious yelling outside before abruptly falling silent. He pushed open the gate to Chen Ping'an's yard, his face pale with fear, and motioned for Chen Ping'an to join him. The boy explained, in a hushed and trembling voice, that he had seen a strange man who seemed to pour endless water from a small white bowl for hours. Ji Yukan's fear was palpable. He described the size of the bowl and how the man's actions had terrified even Song Jixin's father. Chen Ping'an, curious, accompanied Ji Yukan to his home. Along the way, the child clung to him for reassurance, drawing courage from Chen Ping'an's calm presence. Arriving at the small courtyard, they discovered the old man sitting there, the white bowl missing but his presence commanding and serene. Ji Yukan's mother, nervous yet composed, greeted the man politely, while Ji Yukan cowered behind Chen Ping'an. The old man's attention fell on Ji Yukan and the large water vat in their yard. He questioned the boy about its contents, and Ji Yukan admitted it contained fish, prawns, crabs, eels, and catfish he had caught. His voice grew weaker as he spoke, revealing his apprehension. The old man, however, remained calm and kind, instructing Ji Yukan to look into the bowl. In a subtle demonstration, the man produced a locust leaf, which disappeared into Ji Yukan's mouth with a flick of his fingers. Then he focused on the water, revealing a tiny black spot that grew into a yellow catfish, moving freely as if alive. Ji Yukan recognized it as belonging to Chen Ping'an and protested. But the old man reassured him that true cultivation transcended possession. What belonged to the boy would remain his, and what did not would not fall to him. Through a secret technique, the old man had measured Ji Yukan's cultivation aptitude. Though the boy weighed less than 40 kilograms, his potential was extraordinarily heavy, signaling that he would be accepted as a direct disciple. The old man, half a step away from becoming a sect-founding patriarch, explained the significance of true lords and sects, emphasizing that these concepts were far weightier than the contents of any bowl. Ji Yukan, overwhelmed, cried, feeling the unfairness of losing what he thought belonged to Chen Ping'an. The old man, however, smiled kindly, understanding the boy's pure heart, and the woman looked on, visibly relieved. As Chen Ping'an closed the gate and departed, the quiet town of Clay Vase Alley returned to its rhythm. Among the ordinary people, some stood out only for their extraordinary potential, often unnoticed by the world. The lonesome straw-sandaled young boy making his way through Clay Vase Alley was precisely one of those people. In this episode, we saw Chen Ping'an continuing his journey of mastering the art of pottery, practicing his visualization techniques and refining the jumping burin skill in quiet focus. We also witnessed his interactions with Song Jixin and Ji Gui, highlighting the small joys, rivalries, and tender moments in everyday life, while showing Chen Ping'an's calm and determined nature. Meanwhile, the mysterious old man appeared, revealing his extraordinary power and insight as he assessed the young Ji Yukan, ultimately deciding to accept him as a direct disciple. This episode reveals not only the growth of Chen Ping'an's skills but also the intricate web of fate, relationships, and hidden potential surrounding the town. What happens next? Stay tuned for the next episode of Sword of Coming. If you enjoyed this episode or found it interesting, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to receive notifications about the upcoming episodes in Chen Ping'an's journey. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.